What a show. What a show we had tonight. Welcome back to the Pierce the Canvas podcast here on YouTube. I am Pierce. What a big night here. We had AEW All Out number 2, 2020. Pretty damn good pay-per-view, I gotta say. Despite kind of the weak reception to the build-up and the go-home shows, despite, definitely a couple weak points tonight. I don't know. I think I might still be a little high off the main event. I loved it. We'll get into that. There's definitely, as I said, like a few low points here that we're going to get into. But the high points of the show definitely had me forgiving all of that stuff. As far as on the ranks compared to all the other shows that we've seen, honestly, because there's usually such a high bar for AEW shows, this might be one of the lower ones, but honestly, that's not saying much. It was still a great show. So we'll begin the review right away. We'll start off with the buy-in real quick. We'll go through kind of what happened on the pre-show. First thing that stood out to me is that they opened the pre-show with Pyro. I was like, damn, these guys they want to make the statement that their pre-shows matter, or buy-in as they refer to it as. They had a whole pyro show right at the beginning. So that was great. We had Dasha and Tony Schiavone hosting the buy-in. First thing we got to see was MJF cutting a promo saying that he proved no one can get one up on him, as he's proven this week, on Dynamite with the exchange between him and Moxley. So he's going to keep Moxley on a leash like a dog because he's a goon. Says he ain't going to allow Moxie's brawl style. MJF says he knows every reversal to what Moxley's going to try. He says bad things are going to happen to those between him and his goal, and that he's going to become AEW champion tonight. And he says tonight there will be a paradigm shift. Well, that was kind of true, I guess. We'll get into that. Other little promo packages we got to see some of the participants from the 21-man battle royal, cutting just tiny snippet promos, pretty generic stuff. We saw Christopher Daniels, Santana and Ortiz, Jake Roberts and Lance Archer, Frankie Kazarian, Darby Allen. They just cut real quick promos going on. Then we got some previews for Jericho and Orange Cassidy, the Mosa Mayhem match. We got to see some previews for FTR versus Kenny Omega and Adam Page. We got some more little snippet promos from Eddie Kingston, Butcher Blade, Penta Zero M, which, by the way, that's his name now, but it's Penta L0M, I should say. He actually officially changed his AEW name. He's no longer known as just Pentagon Jr. He is now Penta L0M, which is cool, I guess, kind of harder to say, but whatever. And, of course, he was with Ray Phoenix. We also saw Tully Blanchard putting over Sean Spears. I don't know why Tully Blanchard is still hanging around Sean Spears. Whatever. Jake Hager as well. We also saw Taz hyping up Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, as well as Best Friends. So those are all the guys who cut little promos in the buy-in before the Battle Royal. Before the first match in the buy-in, we heard from Jon Moxley, and he said he's been on a rampage for over a year now. With all the sacrifices he had to make, he'll bite, scratch, and claw his way through tonight's title match. He says MJF ain't the bad guy in this situation. He's going to prove that he's the bad guy. So first match came up, and it was Serpentico with Luther against Joey Janela with Sonny Kiss. Immediately, as soon as Janela's coming out, he just runs straight to the ring for the attack. You could see he's bandaged up because of what happened to him in the hands of Chris Jericho on Wednesday. Serpentico into the match is teasing a top rope foot stomp, kind of does that move where he's about to be doing the foot stomp, he's teasing it, but then he just gets down off the top rope and he's like, forget it, and he just kicks Janelle in the head. That was kind of funny. Afterwards, he goes back up on the top rope to attempt a senton. Janelle has his knees up. Janelle does his comeback, lands a near fall after his comeback. Janela goes up for a moonsault. Serpentico moves out of the way. Later, Joey Janela hits a fisherman superplex for a near fall. Later on in the match, finally, he lands his elbow drop for the win. So, it was a fine little opening match for the buy-in here. And, of course, we have Alex Reynolds and John Silver's private party. A little side note here. this is the match replacing Big Swole versus Britt Baker. Big Swole, I hope I didn't say Brit Swole. Big Swole versus Britt Baker. Got kicked off the buy-in. They put it on the main show. I guess after everybody kind of wanted it to be. So, I guess on one hand they had to now pay to watch the match, but on the other, we got 2 women's matches on the card, which I think is necessary, man. You can't just have this, 4-hour or whatever, 3-hour pay-per-view, just one women's match. It's kind of insulting. I'm just gonna say it now. Why didn't they just put the 8-man tag match? The Natural Nightmares, Matt Cardona, whoever else was in that match. Why didn't they just put that in the buy-in? I guess the only reason is because Brody Lee is the TNT champion, so they don't want to discredit him by just putting him on the buy-in. But that match, I didn't like it that much. We're gonna get into that though. I'm getting ahead of myself. So at the beginning of the match, again here, Alex Reynolds and John Silver versus Private Party. Dark Order's side is getting a lot of heat on Isaiah Cassidy for a lot of the beginning of the match. Eventually gets a hot tag on Mark Quinn, does his comeback on both guys. Moonsault presses as well. Pin is broken. We have Private Party trying out their silly string kind of tag team maneuver. John Silver did some kind of crazy finish move. This move where he just threw, I think it was Isaiah Cassidy, and the guy span in the air twice. It reminded me a bit of the F10 from Wardlow. It wasn't that, but just the impact was kind of similar to that. That resulted in a near fall. Private Party are attempting their senton and 450 kind of move, when they're both on the top rope. One goes for a senton, other guy goes for the 450. They reverse it. Dark Order reverses it. Silver and Reynolds begin landing really cool strike combos, super quick strike combos on Mark Quinn for a near fall. And Private Party land their gin and juice for the win. So we actually saw Dark Order lose here, so they're actually racking up some losses. And right before the pay-per-view officially started, we got to see good old JR's entrance. He came out and joined Excalibur and Tony Schiavone. It kind of still just blows my mind how he has his original theme music. It's I thought WWE for sure would have licensed that, but yeah, he has it, so congrats to him. And yeah, so there we go. That was the buy-in. It was, it was decent. I guess the wrestling was better than you'll get from any WWE kickoff or whatever the hell. Anyway, so first things first, right? As soon as the show starts, we get the match that was taken off the buy-in. In hindsight, I slightly disagree with it being the opening match. I think it definitely could have done a little bit better maybe in the middle, but hey, it was a fun little time, a little 6-8 minutes that we got out of this. First thing we see is a Rolls Royce pulling up outdoors, an actual Rolls Royce car, and out comes Big Swole. She has a referee with her. We see Reba as the front desk receptionist in the dentist's office. So Big Swole comes out of the car, walks into this place. It appears to be a dentist's office, and Reba's the front desk receptionist. And Swole immediately just bashes her in the head. I guess she took a clipboard off the desk and just bashes her right in the head with the clipboard. She's walking around the dentist's office looking for Britt Baker. We see Swole searching through doctor's rooms. She goes into one doctor's room or dentist's room, and there's blood everywhere. So they're just trying to show us a little bit the life of Britt Baker, I guess. That was kind of funny. Swole runs off searching for Baker. They do the kind of thing where Big Swole runs down the hallway, and then they just turn the camera, and there's Britt Baker just walking around. She'll never find me. And Swole opens a cupboard in one of the dentist's offices, and there's a whole bunch of fake teeth, the rattling fake teeth. And Baker comes in. She takes a framed certificate, and she just bashes Big Swole right through the frame. He just bashes her right in the head. You see I don't know if it's fake, but you see glass shattering everywhere. So Britt and Big Swole are fighting around. Britt Baker's Rolls Royce, her actual Rolls Royce wheelchair thing that she was using. They both got on top of that Rolls Royce. Baker lands a DDT right on top of it to Big Swole. Reba's attempting to throw Big Swole into a dumpster, which is reversed, and then Swole inadvertently throws Reba into the dumpster. I don't know if I'm switching between Rebel and Reba. I'm still getting used to that. Whatever, just take it as it is. Baker finds a crutch, hits Swole, and runs into the dentist's office where. And then Swole bashes Britt nose first into a sink, like they're like fighting in a dentist's office. She just takes her, bashes her. It looked pretty bad, man. Just bashes her like nose first right into like a sink or something. Baker takes down Swole, and she pinned her for a cover. So I guess okay, there's pinfalls in this match. They didn't really explain anything about this tooth and nail match type. Britt Baker super kicks Swole. She falls onto a dental chair. Britt Baker then takes a drill, like an actual drill. I'm like, what do you have a drill for? Like, do dentists actually? Because it was like a drill that you like use in a wall. It wasn't like, it didn't look like a piece of dental equipment. But anyway, she has a drill. She's like about to kill Big Swole with this drill. They do the kind of thing where she like, attempts to go down with the drill, but then Swole moves out of the way. It gets stuck in the chair. She's like, it's stuck in the chair. And then you see Reba handing a syringe to Britt Baker, and the announcers clarify that this is a Novocaine syringe. So I was like, geez, man, like what's going on in this match? And she attempts to stab Big Swole with it, but Big Swole reverses. Like, she doesn't just like snatch the syringe from her. She basically takes Britt's arm, I think, and she like stabs it in her own leg, like Britt Baker's own leg with her own hand, and you just see this needle sticking out of her leg. I was like, ugh, I wouldn't want to take that. I don't like needles. And then Big Swole like takes one of those like framed certificates. She hands it to Reba, and then she just punches right through the certificate, right into Reba's face, and like you see again glass shattering and stuff. Swole lays Britt Baker on the dentist chair, and it was this is the finish. She lands, like, puts her on a dentist chair. She puts an oxygen mask on her face, and she like passed out. And the ref was like, "Okay, the match is over. The match is over." What I thought happened was like the Novocaine kicked in, and like she just passed out. But that wasn't the case because she put the oxygen mask on her face, and then she passed out, and then the match ended, and then like she gets rid of the oxygen mask, and she's just awake, like, no, I lost and stuff. And I was like, oh, I thought she was like drugged out from the Novocaine. So I don't know why actually she was passed out, to be honest, if that's not why. But whatever, that was it. And then they just ended the match. Like, they were like, yeah, the match is over now. And yeah, that was it. So it was a fun little time, pretty much what we needed out of that tooth and nail match. I thought it was okay. It was fine. And this is the match that I thought, the next match that I thought actually maybe should have opened the show: Jurassic Express and Luchasaurus versus the Young Bucks. Pretty decent match here. The only thing is, I just didn't really know why it was happening. What I wrote down here is that I kind of just made it up. Like, it's a number one contenders match for the titles, but nobody ever clarified that. I don't think. I didn't hear the announcers really say like what the consequence of this match is, so it's just happening just cause, I guess. So Jungle Boy and Matt Jackson immediately starting this match off 1,000 miles an hour. You know how these guys work, right? They're trying to like get some heat, I think, on Matt Jackson a little bit. Jungle Boy's like offering a handshake after they do a couple sequences. He's like, all right, just shake my hand. We'll start this off nice and clean. But Matt Jackson's not having. He just hits his hand away. Luchasaurus comes in, powerbombs Nick Jackson onto Matt Jackson. That was a pretty cool spot. Matt Jackson was trying to suplex Jungle Boy over the top rope at one point. So Matt Jackson's doing his Northern Lights, when he suplexes, gets back up, suplexes. And for the final one, he was gonna, suplex Jungle Boy over the top rope, and Jungle Boy lands on the apron, but he's like yanking Matt's neck backward, like over the top rope. It looked bad, but I don't think it actually was, but it really did look brutal. His neck was just like bending over the top rope, like pretty far back, but he was fine. It was okay. So Matt Jackson's okay. Later on, Nick Jackson's trying to get a tag in. Marco Stunt does interfere and like pulls him off the apron, and he lands face first. The referee was blinded. So I guess, I don't know, Luchasaurus, or rather Jurassic Express are heels. I don't know. or at least Marco Stunt is. At one point, we get Luchasaurus chokeslamming Matt Jackson, and then he chokeslams Nick Jackson. And when so basically he chokeslams Matt Jackson, and then he goes to chokeslam Nick Jackson on top of Matt Jackson. But while he's chokeslamming him down, Nick flips, like he sells the chokeslam as like a flip, and flip lands on Matt Jackson. That was kind of hilarious. And then there was one part where Luchasaurus and Matt Jackson were just going at it, I guess like trading blows. Luchasaurus headbutt the hell out of this guy. He headbutt the shit out of Matt Jackson. Honestly, like it was really loud. It was like Shibata kind of loud. Like I was worried again though, like nothing really happened. Who knows? Maybe the plastic mask just softens the blow a little bit or something. Maybe A, it softened the blow, and B, maybe that's what made it so loud. That was a really loud headbutt. Kind of worrying, but it was fine again. Nick powerbombs Jungle Boy onto the apron and lands a destroyer on Luchasaurus. Matt Jackson goes after an injured. I actually didn't mention. I'm not sure exactly why, but Marco Stunt's injured. He has like a crutch and everything. So Matt Jackson's going after him to get revenge for what happened earlier. He like kicks the crutch away and super kicks the hell out of this kid. So that was the last of Marco Stunt that we got to see. Young Bucks does the, when Matt Jackson's holding up the opponent on the ropes, and then Nick does the swanton that resulted in a near fall. Young Bucks are attempting a Meltzer driver afterwards, but Luchasaurus caught Nick and chokeslammed the heck out of this guy, like chokeslammed him from like 10 feet high. Luchasaurus jumps from the apron and over the barricade onto Nick. That was a crazy spot. He literally ran from the other side of the ring, ran out and basically did like a tope, like over the barricade onto Nick. It's just incredible what this big guy could do, man. It was really something. But unfortunately later on, Young Bucks land a double super kick onto, I think it was Jungle Boy, and then afterwards they landed their BTE trigger for the win. So it was a pretty good match, It was no, Kenny Hangman versus Young Bucks from Revolution or anything like that, but it was a little decent match. It was a really good Dynamite match. We could put it that way, and that's not insulting it. That's not like saying a pay-per-view match is like a really good Raw match. That's just an insult. Raw sucks. But anyway, so next up we have the 21-man Casino Battle Royal. And the winner gets the title shot for the AEW Championship. So it's a big deal. There's a lot on the line here. So basically the way it works is the wrestlers picked a card from a special deck, and the suit determines the group to come out. And every 3 minutes the next group comes out. And there's one Joker card that one of the 21 guys drew. Whoever got the Joker card gets to come out last on their own. And so Taz came out to announce for this, I guess to hype up his boys Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. And first up, we have Trent, Christopher Daniels, Jake Hager, The Blade, and Ray Phoenix. Between this and when the next people came out, nothing much really happened. We had some fun maybe watching Jake Hager just throw around CD Christopher Daniels until Frankie Kazarian came out with Will Hobbs, Chuck Taylor, Santana and Ortiz. I'm not sure who Will Hobbs is. He's probably somebody from Dark, which I don't watch every single week. Big dude though. I'm gonna get into it in a bit, but there's a part where this guy was fighting with Brian Cage. I swear, he made Brian Cage look like a normal sized guy. It was crazy. He's not more muscular than Brian Cage, but he's a big dude. And yeah, when the guy gets in the ring, this Will Hobbs guy, he immediately eliminated Christopher Daniels. After that, we have Billy Gunn coming out with Penta L0M, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, as well as Darby Allen. Brian Cage immediately throws out Billy Gunn, so he's eliminated now. Darby Allen came out a little bit later than everybody else did in his group, and he just came out with a skateboard, just beating people up with a skateboard, and landed a destroyer on Ricky Starks. It eliminates Phoenix, and then Chuck Taylor eventually gets thrown out by Santana and Ortiz. Will Hobbs and Brian Cage are fighting, and this is the part where I really noticed Will Hobbs guy is huge, man, big dude. Like I said, he made Brian Cage honestly look I'm not gonna say small, but just kind of more normal sized. Yeah, that was kind of funny. So next up we have, I think, was it the final team? Anyway, we have Sean Spears, Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, as well as Sonny Kiss and Lance Archer. Sean does what everybody should be doing. He's just chilling around the announcers. He's like, I'm not getting in that ring. I'm gonna wait this out a little bit. He's just chilling around the announcers, chilling around ringside. Of course, Lance Archer gets in the ring immediately, just like takes out three guys at once. Sonny Kiss actually got an elimination on Jake Hager, so that was kind of a big elimination for Sonny Kiss there. And then, Sonny Kiss didn't survive too long after, unfortunately. Got thrown out immediately by Brian Cage afterwards, so there he goes. Sean Spears, he's just chilling around ringside at this point. Later on, we see Trent get eliminated by Santana. Lance Archer throws out Trent and knocks Ortiz off the apron. So Trent and Ortiz were like fighting. Trent got Ortiz over the top rope onto the apron, and they were fighting. And then Lance just threw out Trent and then just knocked Ortiz off the apron. And so that was the last group. And our last participant was Matt Sydal, or Sydal. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name weird, but this is Evan Bourne from WWE. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't know. I didn't watch, I think he was in TNA for a little bit. He was somewhere else. I didn't watch him at all after he left WWE in like 2010 or whatever. So it was cool to get to see this guy live on pay-per-view for the first time in like over a decade or whatever. So later on, we're seeing Jake Roberts, and he puts a bag like in the corner of the ring, and lo and behold, there's a snake in the bag. I can't actually confirm to you whether there's a snake in there or not. We didn't get to see it at all. He just put the bag there. I think you could even see the bag moving. We didn't get to see the snake, though. I don't know what that was all. I was actually a little triggered. I was like, where's the snake? I want to see it. Why are you walking away with the snake? But anyway, I believe at one point Frankie Kazarian and Lance Archer threw out Pentel 0M. And Kazarian shortly after got eliminated, probably also by Lance Archer. Brian Cage accidentally hit Starks at one point, and Allen eliminates Ricky Starks. So I guess that's just adding more fuel to that feud. I think that's going to be an ongoing thing for quite a while between Starks and Allen. Starks is pissed off. He just pulls Allen out of the ring from the bottom rope, so it's not an elimination. He pulls out a body bag and gives the body bag to Brian Cage. Brian Cage opens up the body bag to reveal that it's full of thumbtacks. And Cage just puts Darby Allen in the body bag and power bombs him over the top rope. So Darby Allen is in the body bag that's full of thumbtacks, and Brian Cage power bombs him while he's in this bag off the top rope, basically onto the stage. And the guy wasn't moving, man. Like, it was kind of scary. I was like, I hope this guy's not absolutely messed up. We didn't actually get to see any close-ups of the impact and see if he was, like, bleeding everywhere. They kind of just walked him to the back, so I hope Darby Allen's doing okay there. Matt Sydal got an elimination on Sean Spears. The Will Hobbs guy landed a big spine buster on Matt Sydal. And now we have a cool little face-to-face with Lance Archer. Lance Archer does this kind of crazy shoulder block move onto Will Hobbs, and he just gets eliminated just like that. And now it's Brian Cage and Lance Archer, so we're getting to see all these like kind of fantasy Lance Archer matches, just a tiny little bit. They trade strikes until Cage and Hobbs start brawling on the apron. Okay, so sorry, I guess Hobbs actually wasn't eliminated yet. Okay, right, and then so when Cage and Will Hobbs are kind of brawling on the apron, Archer just kicked them both down. And so Brian Cage and Will Hobbs got eliminated at the same time. And so now it was down to a really like surprising few guys. It was Butcher, Lance Archer, Matt Sydal, and Eddie Kingston. Those are the last four guys in the match. Sydal got to take out Butcher. Archer lands his blackout on Sydal, his crazy finisher. And then Kingston pushes him off the apron, and now Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer are on the apron. Butcher and Blade are interfering because he's, that's Eddie Kingston's guys. Jake Roberts, I feel like this is a part where he was supposed to pull out the snake, but he couldn't manage to do it. Because Jake Roberts, basically, like, Eddie Kingston is on the top rope, and Jake Roberts is, like, putting up the snake, but in the bag. He's just shoving it up to Eddie Kingston to try to scare him or something, but he doesn't actually take out the snake. um, and Archer just throws Eddie Kingston out from the top rope for the win. And yes, Lance Archer was my pick. I'm so happy he won. I really do want to see him in the world title picture, which we're going to, because he won this match. Again, it was for whoever wins gets to face the champion, whoever wins tonight in the main event. So yeah, big win for Lance Archer. Super happy about that. I am very much looking forward to see him either fight MJF or Jon Moxley. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be an interesting program. And my final note on that match was, we never got to see the snake. Like, I had to feel like, I don't know, like, Archer and Roberts would be celebrating in the ring. You just pull out the snake and just hold up the snake. Nothing. He just takes the snake on his shoulder and just walks to the back with Lance Archer. We never got to see it. Really disappointing. Like, you can't just have a bag with a snake in it. I'm pretty sure there was a snake in there, because like I said, you could kind of see the bag moving around and stuff. Whatever. So I have to get over that, I guess. Next up, we have Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy in the Broken Rules match. This was a kind of weird experience here. So this match has last man standing rules. So that's basically what the Broken Rules match is. No disqualification, false count anywhere. Last man standing rules, essentially. So, knock out your opponent for a 10 count. Which was actually, I don't think that was ever explained at all in the pre-promo package or video package or whatever. The announcers never said it. We just found out because Aubrey Edwards started counting, I believe. Again, I always just want to say I think, because I don't know 100%, but I don't think they explained that, man. Which they should have. You can't be doing that stuff. Same with the tooth and nail match. They didn't explain a single thing. And also, the other big thing is if Matt Hardy loses, he leaves AEW. So the match begins. We see Matt Hardy in the football stadium, and he's just calling out Sammy. He's like, "Where's Sammy? Get me Sammy!" And we see Sammy Guevara pulling up in the golf cart, and he goes after Matt, tries pulling that same spot Matt got on him those months ago in that Stadium Stampede match. But he misses. He didn't actually end up hitting Matt Hardy. He gets out of the golf cart, and they begin brawling. There's like a metal table. They're fighting in like the arena now, I guess maybe between the stadium and Daly's place kind of thing. And there's like a metal table. They both brawl on top of it. Sammy, or rather actually Matt DDT Sammy right on top of that thing. And yeah, this is a crazy spot. So Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara brawling, and there's like this riser thing. So, when you see people painting a wall that's really high up, like 40 feet high or whatever, they're on like a riser kind of thing, an electric riser. That's exactly what it was. They're both like brawling on this riser. The riser's being raised up somehow. I don't know if one of them were doing it or how that happened. And Sammy Guevara speared Matt Hardy off of the riser through a table. And yeah, Matt is out. But he actually ended up getting up around 4. Because again, Aubrey Edwards is counting for the last man standing rules. She gets to 4 and Matt Hardy gets back up. But we see Doc Samson come out, the doctor, like the main AEW doctor. And he stopped the match, ruling that Matt Hardy can't continue because he took a really bad bump. He took a spear off of that maybe like 8 to 10 feet high riser, which is pretty damn high, and went through the table and landed on his head on concrete. So his body went through the table, but his head landed on concrete. So they were like, we gotta end this match. And I bought it completely. I was like, damn, I hope Matt Hardy's not messed up. But they continued brawling and the match restarted. And then it kind of clicked in. I realized, oh yeah, Matt Hardy's kind of catchphrase these days is "I will not die" or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I guess that was kind of what they were doing. They were proving to us that he can't die. So yeah, they just kept the match going, but it didn't last much longer. Matt DDT's Sammy on the concrete, and they brawl around the arena. Sammy at one point decides to start climbing some scaffolding, doing some Jeff Hardy shit here. Matt Hardy follows him up. They climb maybe 15 feet up, and Matt pushes Sammy Guevara down, and he lands on like, I don't know. It looked a little too safe in my opinion. It just looked like a little concrete, like, or not concrete, like cardboard kind of padding thing, and he just like fell right through it. I gotta take that back. The guy takes crazy bumps, man. But it did, like, just having seen Matt Hardy just bump his head off this concrete, and it's like, okay, this guy gets to land on this padded, I don't know, like cardboard or whatever around the stage. And that was the end of the match. They got the 10 count, and there's Matt Hardy with the win. So Matt Hardy's not leaving AEW. What I had written down is that the match may have ended prematurely because of what happened earlier, but I don't think so. I'm sticking with what I said before. I think they're trying to make that a gimmick. Like Matt will not die. He goes through a crazy bump, but he just gets right back up and keeps fighting. So that was the match. That was that. Next up, we have Hikaru Shida versus Thunder Rosa. Absolutely one of the matches I was most looking forward to tonight. And again, Thunder Rosa being the NWA Women's World Champion. And so, right as the match begins, a little bit into it, Shida lands a big twirl world backbreaker into a running knee strike. At one point, Hikaru Shida was attempting her chair move, where she puts down the chair and then she runs and does, I think, like a knee strike or something like that. But the announcers, it's like these uneducated old announcers, Tony Schiavone and JR, they're like, oh my god, what's she gonna do with that chair? No, Hikaru can't do this. I'm like, come on, guys. And I know they're not just saying that because it's a script. They really don't know what she's about to do because they're not paying attention. And then Excalibur's like, don't worry, guys, she's going for her signature move. And then Jim Ross is just like, oh, well, you never know what she's gonna do. I'm like, you gotta be more ready for that, man. But anyway, so she attempted that move, but Rosa actually, they were both kind of running toward the chair at the same time. Thunder Rosa beat her to the race and did a knee strike to Hikaru Shida. So tables were turned there. She completely reversed the move. Rosa starts doing like a stretch to Shida across the ring post in the corner. Looked really brutal, looked real uncomfortable. Hikaru Shida, after she lets go of the move, she's just hanging off the apron, and Rosa kicks her head off ringside. So she's just hanging off the apron. Rosa steps back maybe 5-6 steps, runs up and just kicks her right in the head. Later on, Rosa connects a hanging pendulum submission. This woman can do technical offense, man. It's really, really cool. I just... Yeah, I don't like that this is probably going to be her only match in AEW, man. I want to see her so much more often. Who else, no offense, but who else of the women are really, showing me this quality, this level of quality of wrestling, you know what I mean? I wish she would just stick around. Yeah, so she's doing that hanging pendulum submission on Hikaru Shida, and she's just like banging Shida's head on the bottom turnbuckle in one of the corners. And yeah, this is just the point of the match where it just clicked with me that Hikaru Shida is being out wrestled by Thunder Rosa right now. Thunder Rosa gives her a Death Valley driver on the apron and locks an armbar on Hikaru Shida, which led to a rope break. Hikaru Shida lands big double knees outside of the ring to Rosa. Rosa was like around the stage, and Hikaru runs out of the ring and lands double knees on her. Shida at one point, like 12 minutes into the match, lands a Falcon Arrow, and Thunder Rosa just kicked out immediately at 1. I was like, geez, man, they're putting Thunder Rosa over, man, big time. A little bit later on, maybe slightly awkward, Hikaru Shida lands her running knee finisher for the win. The only reason I say it was awkward is because 2 minutes ago, Thunder Rosa just immediately at a 1 count kicked out of a Falcon Arrow. Maybe it was a shoot, who knows? But yeah, a few minutes, maybe not even a few, maybe 1 or 2 minutes later, Hikaru Shida landed her running knee strike for the win. So cool, we get to see Hikaru Shida still with the title. I still think she's great. I really want to see Thunder Rosa around though, man. I'm gonna miss her. I'm gonna be thinking about her when I watch it AEW. I'm gonna be like, man, we need her back here. So that was that for that match. Next up, we see Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford backstage. Kind of slightly useless segment. It wasn't really useless because it's setting up something for the show this Wednesday, but I don't know if this should have taken up pay-per-view time, but anyway. So Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford are backstage, and they announced that they're getting married. And we're going to have to witness that. That's going to be happening this Wednesday on Dynamite. And then he mentioned something about a bachelor party. I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing the bachelor party, but he's like, I'm going to have to pick out my first man. And once you guys find out who it is, you'll love it or whatever. He's gonna show us who the first, or rather the best man is going to be this Wednesday at Dynamite. So we'll find out then. This that I'm about to say made this segment worth it. So afterwards, Kip basically takes a sign. He's like, oh, one more thing. He takes a sign and he's advertising his Twitch channel on the sign. And while he's holding up his Twitch channel, actual text comes up and it says, "This message has been approved by All Elite Wrestling." That made me laugh so hard, man. I just love the way they could take these little hits at WWE, because I don't know if you know what happened there, but they're not letting anybody use Twitch anymore for whatever stupid reason. Incredibly infuriating stuff, but yeah. But anyway, yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, I literally think that made it worth it. Like, I laughed so hard. That was that for that little segment. Next up, we had Dark Order versus the Natural Nightmares, Matt Cardona and Scorpio Sky. Dark Order being Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, Colt Cabana, and Evil Uno. So immediately, it's an 8-man tag. It's kind of the nature of them. They just immediately all start beating each other up. You can't ever have a civil 8-man tag match. QT Marshall attempting a hot tag. Evil Uno just takes his hand and just starts biting it. Eventually he gets to tag in Cardona, and just not a whole lot happened. I'm not gonna lie, my next note was, this match sucks. I didn't like at least a lot of this match. I don't think it really should have been on the main card of this pay-per-view. Anyway, next we see Matt Cardona gets a hot tag on Dustin, and he does his comeback and lands a destroyer on Colt Cabana. Scorpio Sky gets tagged in. Anna Jay is attempting a distraction, and Brandy comes in and big boots the hell out of her. That was actually kind of funny. She just big boots the crap out of Anna Jay. That's like her first big bump since she started coming to AEW. Or was it her first bump in general? Has she had a match like on Dynamite? Maybe on Dark, but not I can remember on Dynamite. Matt Cardona comes back in eventually, lands his radio silence on Stu Grayson, lands a radio silence on Evil Uno from the middle rope, attempts it on Brody Lee, but he reverses it into a powerbomb. Stu and Uno powerbomb QT. Brody Lee lands his slam finisher. Unfortunately, I don't know what the name of it is. The one where he kind of does like a half spin and lands his opponent down. Cabana does a cross body on QT Marshall from the top rope, which leads to a near fall. Brody Lee throws QT to Dustin Rhodes at one point. So basically, Dustin's like, "Let me fight you, man. Come on, Brody. Just let me get a piece of you." But QT Marshall is the legal man, so Brody Lee just throws QT Marshall towards Dustin Rhodes to allow the tag. So they both go brawling. Brody Lee ends up connecting his clothesline finisher, the same one that he won the title with. He calls in Colt Cabana. He attempts a moonsault, but Dustin Rhodes moves away and rolls up Colt Cabana for the win. And this led to Brody Lee just flipping out ringside, banging the barricades with chairs and whatnot. Gets into the ring. He basically just takes down and corners Cabana, like telling him like, "How do you make us lose?" He's just flipping out. They all leave. I really did think that like all of Dark Order were just gonna corner Cabana and beat the crap out of him. That's what I thought was gonna happen. It didn't though. They all just left. Evil Uno, I guess, felt bad for Colt Cabana. He helped him up, and they just walked off. And so next we see Dustin Rhodes backstage with Tony Schiavone. He's super excited that he got the win, and Tony Schiavone says, "Oh, this just in. Tony Khan is telling me that this Wednesday on Dynamite, you're getting a title shot, bud, against Brody Lee for the TNT title." And Dustin Rhodes is just over the moon, man. He's super excited. I'm not going to lie, I actually really liked his promo work in this segment here. Says he's coming for the title. He's going to take it this Wednesday. So we get to see Dustin Rhodes versus Brody Lee for the TNT title this Wednesday on Dynamite. I could say I'm looking forward to that. We'll see how it goes. And then next up, one of the big matches of the show, we have Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus FTR for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Kenny Omega and Cash Wheeler start the match. Paige is asking for a tag. Kenny Omega actually grants it, so they're working at least somewhat cohesively at the beginning of this match. You could definitely sense a little shakiness, but they seem to work quite well for the majority of the match. Together. Once Adam actually gets into the ring, Cash Wheeler is basically asking for a handshake, but Adam Page ain't having it. He just starts wailing at Cash Wheeler. So there goes all the cool vibes going between Adam Page and FTR. It all just went out the window. He just went after Wheeler, started wailing at him. At one point, we see Adam and Kenny going at it on Cash Wheeler with chops, and this is kind of the part of the match where I realize, okay, so they're working together. They're not gonna push the drama too much in this match, which is good. I just like to have straight wrestling on my pay-per-views, Cash and Dax are doing the tag team submission on Hangman. This was a kind of detail I really liked. So basically, I think it was Cash Wheeler. I think was the legal man. He was doing like a stretch submission to Hangman Page, and somehow while the referee was slightly distracted, Cash goes over to Dax and he starts pulling Adam Page's arm even more so, locking the submission even more brutally, and then, Dax Harwood was the legal man. He had tagged Cash Wheeler, and then Cash Wheeler comes in. But because the referee was distracted the whole time, he was like, no, Cash, get back out there. I didn't see the tag. So it was cool. They were paying attention to at least a little bit of the details. There was kind of nice subtleties that were going on. FTR got a tag team assisted suplex on Kenny at one point, which resulted in a super quick near fall. I was actually worried. I was like, Jesus, it's just gonna end here. Kenny and Hangman afterwards do an assisted German to Dax Harwood and powerbomb as well, and then they land a V-trigger knee on Cash Wheeler for a near fall. Later on, Kenny Omega's on the top rope. Dax Harwood ends up landing a superplex on him. Wheeler gets the top rope splash for a near fall. Kenny gets a brain buster and Tiger Driver 98 to Cash. A V-trigger as well. Attempts a one-winged angel, but gets reversed. FTR lands Dragon Screw Leg Whip on Kenny. They get him into a figure four, so they're really working the leg on Kenny. I think the announcers mentioned his leg is injured at one point. Thankfully, the figure four just ended up in a rope break, so match kept going. Kenny's really selling that leg injury though at ringside, and FTR drag him into the ring and begin just beating up his leg, throwing it into the corner. When they put the ring post in between their legs and you just start whipping the legs on the ring post. He's trying his best to get a tag. At one point he lands a dragon suplex on Dax Harwood, gets a little bit of momentum. Still kind of struggling to get the tag, but eventually gets it. So Hangman getting a lot of high-flying offense once he comes back in on FTR, including at one point gets them both outside the ring and lands a really cool swanton. It was a kind of another subtle moment where he was going to do his moonsault, but then you see Tully Blanchard, being the great manager he is, he was like, guys, he's going to do his moonsault. But little did they know he has a lot more in his arsenal than just a moonsault, so he did this picture-perfect swanton. Better than what Pat McAfee did at TakeOver. Yeah, I'm comparing him to a non-wrestler. Eventually, the tables turn. FTR lands their diving headbutts for a near fall. Cash has Kenny in a powerbomb position ringside, while Dax Harwood does a bulldog kind of thing, kind of vintage wrestling move. They both do the exact same thing on Hangman. Later on, really cool spot from Hangman. He lands a flipping world's strongest slam position from the top rope. So he basically has him in world's strongest slam position, flips off the top rope and lands, which was crazy spot. Gets another near fall there. Match still going on. Kenny and Hangman are attempting the last call, which is the buckshot and V-trigger combination. I guess that's what they're calling it, the last call. Tag team finisher. Cash moves out of the way, and Kenny V-triggers the hell out of Adam Page. Just knocks his head off, man. It was a bad one. FTR set him up for the assisted spike pile driver and landed it for a near fall. They attempted again. Kenny's trying his hardest to get in the ring to distract the pin. So they land the spike pile driver again a second time. They keep Kenny out of the ring. And they win. So that's it. That's it for Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. They are no longer the tag team champions. We now have new world tag team champions in FTR. So congratulations to them, man. But it was a little emotional, man. I was actually kind of feeling it. I was like, oh, man, like, you know, these guys are going to be broken up now. As FTR is celebrating, they give a knocked out Hangman Page 2 beers before they just leave. They just give him 2 beers. His dead body's just right there. And, you know, Hangman Page is helping himself out, you know, get up and stuff. He barely gets on his feet. He almost looks like he's trying to fall into Kenny Omega's arms, but Kenny just lets him fall. He's like, fuck it, man. I'm not catching this guy. Just let him fall right on his face. And then he took like this ringside like little table thing, maybe just like this big, and he has it in his hand, and it really looked like he was about to beat up Hangman Page with it, man. I was like, oh, I don't want to see this. But no, he ended up just putting it down. He didn't end up hitting him with it. And actually, sorry, this might have been the part where Hangman was up, and then Kenny just let him fall down. I think that actually happened over here. And then Omega just dipped, and my last note was, rest in peace, Omega and Hangman. So that's it for them, I guess. Kenny's running backstage, the camera follows him backstage, and Kenny Omega finds the Young Bucks, and he says, I'm done. So I guess that confirms it. Like, he's done tag teaming with Adam Page. Kenny Omega's asking them to come with him somewhere. So all you can hear is just Kenny being like, you guys have to come with me. You coming with me or not, or whatever. And then he's like, you can't go back on this decision. The Young Bucks don't end up following him in. And he just goes into this SUV alone. So I don't know like what exactly the implications are. It seemed like some kind of ultimatum, I guess. He's just like, you guys coming with me or not? You know, you have to come with me. You can't go back on this decision. So I don't know what exactly he's referring to, where he's going or what. I guess we'll find out. But Kenny is on his own. Adam Page is on his own. So I don't know what's going on with the Elite, man. I guess the Elite is no more. Next up, we have big match. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy in a Mimosa Mayhem match. We see, you know, the build-up. We see the orange juice drenching on Chris Jericho. We see the bubbly boarding that happened to Orange Cassidy. We see Orange Cassidy's promo on Chris Jericho, you know, when he's like, look into my eyes and look into the eyes of the man who's going to embarrass you. And we see kind of a new little promo from him where I guess it was like an interview promo, and he's like, we'll see the same results as last time. I'm going to be winning. And then we see Chris Jericho being interviewed by Alex Marvez backstage. Jericho says this is a historic match after the 14-week feud between he and Orange. Jericho says that he's made Orange into the main event star he is, and tonight, the Orange Cassidy experiment will end. The only way to win this match is by pinfall, submission, or throwing your opponent into the mimosa. I'm just going to say right off the bat, I have no clue what the point of having pinfalls and submission is in this match. But yeah, it was there, and we had some near falls, and that's actually the reason why the main reason why I don't think it was necessary to have pins or submissions. Because, like, I'm not going to lie, like, I enjoyed the World Tag Team title match. There was a lot of near falls. There's like 20 near falls. So it's just like going into this match, it would have just been nice having a break from near falls, you know what I mean? But no, we still had those in this match because you're allowed to do pins and submissions, which I don't really know why. It should have just been you just have to throw your opponent into the mimosa, but whatever. I enjoyed the heck out of this match. The crowd was really hot for this one. This is the first match where I really noticed the crowd. Orange Cassidy immediately runs into a code breaker in this match. So the match starts ding ding ding. Orange Cassidy's just going for a running move, just lands right into a code breaker. That resulted in a near fall. Jericho's attempting a Walls of Jericho. Orange Cassidy resists. But Jericho like catapults him over the top rope. I should have actually explained. So the mimosa, there's two sets of mimosa. So there's one mimosa pool on the left side of the ring, and there's another mimosa pool on the right side of the ring. So that's basically that. And there's a good amount of space around the mimosa that you could like walk around. So it's not just like it's just a pool that you have to like carry and dump the opponent into or whatever. It's like its own apron essentially. So Orange Cassidy resists the Walls of Jericho, and Jericho catapults him over the top rope, and he lands onto the apron of the mimosa, and he almost falls right in, but he didn't. By the way, the opponent has to fall fully submerged into the mimosa. You can't just like your leg falls into it or something like that. Your whole body has to fall in. That's the rule. So Jericho on the mimosa like apron things, there's tables with like a champagne bucket and some other stuff there. So Jericho just takes one of those tables and just throws it at Cassidy, and he takes a cocktail tray and bashes it in Orange Cassidy's head, and it just shatters into a million pieces. Jericho catches Orange Cassidy in a powerbomb position right by the mimosa pool, but Orange Cassidy's kind of punching him in the face, which causes him to turn around a little bit. So Jericho just decides just to powerbomb him right through the table where the champagne bucket is, except on the other side. So he powerbombed him right through that table. Jericho, after that, he takes Floyd, his baseball bat, and I guess he's getting ready to beat the crap out of Orange Cassidy with it, but Orange Cassidy comes back real quick with a super kick, and he takes the champagne bucket and clocks Jericho right in the head with it. Cassidy attempts a swinging DDT. Jericho reverses it into a Walls of Jericho. So basically, he has him in the Walls of Jericho in the ring, and Orange Cassidy is crawling towards the ropes. There's no rope breaks in this match. He takes like a big cup. He dips it in the mimosa while he's in Walls of Jericho, and like 30 seconds later, he just splashes it in Jericho's face. So he was able to escape the Walls of Jericho and landed a Superman punch. After the momentum built up, he attempted a dive, which was reversed again into a code breaker for a near fall again. Jericho gets Orange on the top rope looking for a power bomb into the mimosa, but Orange Cassidy reverses into a Superman punch. Connects Jericho with the Superman punch while he's sitting on the top rope. Jericho falls right into the mimosa. And there you go. That was the end of the match. So Orange Cassidy has completed the trilogy. The third match here. I think this is it for this program. It's the end of Jericho versus Cassidy, and Cassidy came out on top. Jericho put this guy over, man. And I thought this match was great. I thought it was way, way better than the last match, which just had so many awkward spots. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a good end to this feud. Really looking forward to see what's next for both of them, for Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. And yeah, my only complaint again is that I just had too many near falls, man. We didn't need it. It ended, with one of the guys falling in the mimosa, so I don't really see why you needed pins. But that's just a small complaint. I enjoyed the match. And that was the co-main event. Next, we got to see an ad for Full Gear, and the official date is November 7th, which isn't long from now. I was thinking that AEW pay-per-views were once every 4 months. That's almost exactly 2 months from now, so we're going to have a pay-per-view coming up pretty soon. Finally, we have our all-out main event. Jon Moxley versus MJF for the AEW World Championship. So Moxley comes out first, and immediately, so he comes out going down these stairs. You know how he's always way outside of the arena, and he's walking into the arena. He walks into the arena. As soon as he walks into the arena, a fan is coming after the poor guy. And thank God security was close on hand. They just ripped this fan away. Can't imagine how the rest of that guy's night went, especially, with like the pandemic stuff. I think that's extra no-no these days, But anyway, they just got rid of him real quick. Once they both get into the ring and the match begins, MJF starts off the match with takedowns and headlocks, basic stuff, but it was surprising to see that he was so dominant at the beginning. They also showed us a couple shots of Lance Archer and Jake Roberts in the crowd, because that's who the next challenger, the winner of this match, is going to be. Moxley knocks MJF into the barricades and starts just like ripping his hand, and it was kind of funny. MJF is like begging for the referee. I think you hear the ref say though, like, I can't do anything, I'm sorry. And he's like telling Moxley, listen, Moxley, you can only win the match in the ring, please stop. But yeah, MJF was just begging for the referee. It sounded kind of desperate. Moxley attempts like a spot on the apron. I think it was like a DDT spot. And this looked kind of bad. So he's like attempting whatever he's attempting on the apron, but it was reversed, and MJF pulls him down by the left arm and slams him shoulder first onto the apron. And Moxley really sold like the shoulder. Like, I kind of believed like his shoulder might be messed up, man, because he really did fall hard. Wardlow, like while Moxley's all hurt and stuff, Wardlow picks him up and throws him in the ring while the ref is distracted. Moxley threw MJF at one point. Unfortunately, I gotta say, I don't even know how exactly it happened, but MJF comes back up bleeding like crazy. I think I got up real quick to do something real quick, like for like a second, and I just see MJF with blood all over his face. I gotta admit, I actually, I don't know how exactly it was caused. When we see MJF come up with all that blood on his face, Moxley just goes attacking him in the head, throws MJF with a suplex. When he does like the suplex and then he just like throws them and they land, that results in a near fall. Moxley is attempting a gotch-style pile driver, Minoru Suzuki's finisher, but his arm gives out. MJF and Jon Moxley are exchanging holds. Moxley suddenly lands his pile driver, near fall. So I guess that's kind of like what he was using as his finisher, because he can't use the paradigm shift. That's the rule for the match. You cannot use the paradigm shift. Moxley, after that, he just starts biting into MJF's open wound. They're like fighting in the corner. He just starts biting it. I think, yeah, MJF did the same thing to him, so I guess they're equal on that. But this guy was bleeding a lot. I guess Moxley was as well. Moxley's attempting a superplex, but MJF starts biting his hand and does a crazy jump. Like, Moxley's holding onto the rope like this, and MJF just jumps onto the same injured arm. I was like, this poor guy, man, his arm must be hurting. Jon Moxley lands a German suplex and clothesline combination for another near fall. Moxley is telling MJF to get up, just like, get up, buddy, how wrestlers do. And MJF just spits in his face. That's worse than getting spit in the face on any other day, because he was bleeding so much, so he had blood and stuff. But not like Moxley cares, he just bit into it. So Moxley gets pissed off after he spits in his face, so he puts him in position for the paradigm shift, I guess out of habit. And the referee is like, no, you ain't doing that, buddy, don't do it. And so that kind of distracts Moxley, and MJF gets the upper hand and locks him in the Fujiwara armbar on the injured arm. And that went on for maybe close to a minute until rope break. MJF landed a heat seeker pile driver onto Moxley for a near fall. That had me scared, man. There's so many times this match I was like, oh, I can't let Moxley lose, man. Like, before this whole pay-per-view, I was like, yeah, maybe MJF could win. But once the match started, I was like, no. Yeah, Moxley can't lose the title, man. So after this heat seeker pile driver, basically he got a air raid crash Jon Moxley onto MJF for a near fall. Moxley and MJF are trading shots at this one point in the match. They're just headbutting each other, just throwing forearms at each other, slapping each other. At one point, I swear, Moxley just lost it, and he just starts headbutting the hell out of MJF. He probably did 10 headbutts in like 5 seconds to the guy. But MJF landed a thumb to the eye. Moxley gets him in a sleeper hold. MJF, so basically he has him in the sleeper hold. and MJF kind of turns so that he's facing the ref, and then he low blows Jon Moxley in a way that the ref couldn't see it. He rolls him up. I was kind of scared here too, near fall. And MJF landed across Rhodes, near fall. Wardlow at one point is distracting the referee. He throws in the diamond ring. They're going for the diamond ring spot, but MJF like couldn't find the ring. He's like, oh shit, where's the ring? I gotta do this. But Moxley is well aware of what's going on. He's like, yeah, I see you, man. So he puts him in position for the paradigm shift and lands the paradigm shift because the referee was still distracted, right? Because MJF was supposed to use a diamond ring. 1, 2, 3, wins. And still the AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley. So yeah, this is going to lead to us seeing Jon Moxley versus Lance Archer. I will say I kind of doubt that it's going to be at Full Gear. I can't see them, going 2 months without doing it. They're probably going to do it at maybe just sometime in October. Maybe for, who knows, maybe the 1 year anniversary for AEW. That might be when they do it. But what I think is going to happen, honestly, is I think I kind of want to see Lance Archer win the title, to be honest, but I don't think he's going to. I think Moxley's just going to get through Archer, and it's going to end up being Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, like 1 year anniversary since Full Gear last year. So I think we're going to see them wrestle at Full Gear. But nonetheless, I'm still really much looking forward to the program between Jon Moxley and Lance Archer. And yeah, that was a show. That was All Out 2020. Like I said, it's probably on the lower bar as far as the AEW pay-per-views have gone. I can't say I've seen a bad one, though. You know what I mean? So the bar is real high. This one just wasn't... It wasn't Revolution. It wasn't tip-top kind of pay-per-view, but it was good. I didn't like the 8-man tag match. It's the only match I could say I actively just didn't like. I liked Dustin Rhodes' promo afterwards. But yeah, I hope everybody else enjoyed the show tonight. We will be back for a stream on Wednesday. Take it easy until then. We will be seeing, again, Dustin Rhodes versus Brody Lee. That will be the main event. So tune in. Right when Dynamite goes off the air, we'll be back with Pierce the Canvas. Again, I'm Pierce, and I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys.